Why your focus feels fake. Cognitive residue 101. Here, what's actually happening. Attention residue is the carryover of unfinished neural activity from the last task. Sophie Leroy named it in 2009. You stop task A, start task B, but part of your cognitive system is still running in the background. So B feels fuzzy, slow, and kind of annoying. That's not a character flaw, it's your nervous system state. Think of two forces. First, the Zeigarnik effect. Your brain holds unfinished tasks like open loops. It keeps them active to ensure you come back. That's helpful for survival, rough for knowledge work. Second, we layer constant task switches, pings, tabs, just checking. Each switch hits you with a small novelty spike, then leaves a film of on B that residue hogs working memory, so basic steps feel harder. It's not that you got dumber, you're just running with less RAM. Now here's the part most people miss. Planning is the solvent. Masacampo and Baumeister, 2011, ran studies showing that when you make a concrete plan, when and where you release working memory. The task is still incomplete, but the brain marks it handled. That drops the interference, which means you don't need more willpower, you need a better off-ramp. Park the loop, don't carry it. Let's talk body. When you switch, your locus coeruleus, your norepinephrine system, resets your priority map. You get a little alerting spike. Great for paying attention to a new threat, terrible when the new threat is a search rabbit hole. At the same time, glucose and oxygen shift toward the new thread. Your control networks now fight with limbic alarms saying, we still have stuff open. That mismatch is why the next task feels harder. It's not a skills gap. It's friction from two systems pulling you. Add Gloria Mark's finding. Average on-screen focus sits around 47 seconds before a switch. That means you're layering micro-residue all day. And you felt the lag. After an interruption, it can take you 20+ minutes to get back to the same cognitive depth. That's the refocus tax. Even if you come back quickly, the deep thread isn't back. So you end up in this weird place where you feel busy, lots of motion, lots of tabs, but produce almost nothing meaningful. The brain pays you in dopamine for novelty checks. It's like eating crumbs and wondering why you're still hungry. Meanwhile, the open loops keep firing Zeigarnik tension, so your baseline arousal stays high. That's why deep work can feel aversive. You sit down and your body says, nope, we're not safe, we have dangling stuff. Here's the reframe. Focus is not a moral test, it's a biological state. If you design for the state, lower arousal, close or park loops, cut switch frequency, you get focus as a side effect. This is where self-determination theory helps Desai and Ryan. When autonomy is on, I choose to do this because your nervous system relaxes. When competence is obvious, tiny first step, clear next action, you get momentum. When safety or relatedness is covered, no surprise pings, social rules around response times, your body releases attention. Autonomy, competence, safety are levers, not slogans. Pull them and residue decays faster between moves. Practically, this means fewer lanes per day, cleaner starts and planned stops. Micro switches are not free. Each DM, each tab, each quick search leaves a residue smear you have to clean later. Willpower can't mop a flood, so we don't fight the flood, we shut the valve. Less switching, better parking. Nervous system first. And if you're thinking, okay, but sometimes I have to switch, totally. Then treat the switch like a pit stop. 2 breaths, soften your eyes, write a parking note for the thing you're leaving and a 1-line intent for the thing you're entering. That 10-second ritual buys you minutes of clarity. You'll feel it the first day. In a second, we'll measure the real cost and make it visible so your brain stops arguing. But first, remember this, your focus isn't failing, your cleanup system is missing. Once you add it, deep work starts to feel normal again. The 47-second switch tax, what it costs biologically. So let's put numbers on it. Gloria Mark's group at UC Irvine has tracked digital work for years, and right now the average on-screen attention span before a switch is about 47 seconds, down from roughly 150 seconds in the early 2000s. Not 5 minutes. 47. That means your brain is asked to tear down and spin up a new context more than 50 times in an hour if you let it. And here's the kicker, each switch isn't just a second. There's a hidden rebuild cost baked into your biology. When you flip tasks, your brain runs a reset routine. The locus coeruleus spikes norepinephrine to flag new priorities. That's good in the wild. Hear a twig snap, orient fast. At a desk, that snap is a tab. You get a novelty blip of dopamine that says, hey, this matters, look. Then control networks have to load the new rules. What counts as a win where the files live, which names mean what? That loading time shows up as slower reaction times and more errors. Classic task switching costs you can see in EEG and response time studies. The longer the chain of tiny pivots, the worse the latency and accuracy get. Now, zoom into the felt sense. You know when the next task suddenly feels heavier than it should? That's state mismatch. Glucose and oxygen had ramped toward thread A you yanked to thread B, but a chunk of A is still running in working memory, Leroy's attention residue. So B feels like wading through jello you're not broken. You're literally starving B of the fuel A was using while also arguing with open loops that want closure. And this is where the 23-minute refocus tax shows up. After even a small interruption, studies have observed it can take around 23 minutes to regain prior depth. You might click back in seconds, sure, but depth lags. Think of it like a snow globe. One shake and the flakes don't settle in a second. They swirl for a while. If you shake it again at 47 seconds, they never settle. That's most people's day. But here's where most folks mess up. They think more speed will fix it. Faster switching, faster typing, faster everything. The data says the opposite. Micro-switching inflates error rates, and those errors create rework, which adds more switches, which stacks more residue. Busy feels up, output stays flat. It's the mimic work loop. Now there's a subtle cost I want you to notice. Cues. Every environment has a cue map that helps you stabilize attention. Your document's layout, the open tabs that matter, the names in a thread. When you switch at 47-second intervals, you keep trashing and rebuilding that map. Your brain spends cycles just refinding landmarks. That's the why did I come into this room moment, but inside software. It steals working memory from the actual problem you're trying to solve. You've probably experienced this yourself. You hop to a quick search to help the task, then 12 minutes vanish, and weirdly the original task now feels harder. That's not weakness. That's the clock restarting. You pulled a new novelty lever, your arousal spiked, your priority map rewrote, and residue from the search now coats the thing you came to do. This is why helpful switches can be the most expensive. And boom, look at what happens next if you don't intervene. You feel behind, so you add urgency. Urgency ramps arousal. High arousal narrows attention to the nearest ping. More pings, more 47-second loops, more residue. By mid-afternoon, your brain is fried, yet you have almost no clean artifacts to show. That's the biological bill. The fix starts with respecting the rebuild. 2 changes buy you back time. First, cut the switch rate, tool isolation, tab fences 1 lane at a time so your cue map stays stable. Second, when you must switch, run a tiny pit stop. 2 slow exhales, soften your gaze, write a parking line for A, and 1 line intent for B that drops arousal and tells your brain these rules now. It's 10 seconds that cancels minutes of latency. In a second, we'll use this to explain why you feel busy but ship nothing, and how to reverse it fast. Busy brain, empty output, the mimic work illusion. So here's the trap. A high switch count feels like progress because your brain rewards novelty. Every new tab, every ping, you get a tiny dopamine blip. It's the I'm on it feeling. You bounce Slack, email, doc, quick search, calendar, back to doc, 5 hops in 3 minutes and it feels busy. But it's mimic work. It looks like work from the outside, but there's no single artifact moving to done. No draft, no design, no ship step. And this is where the moral failure myth sneaks in. You blame your character. Instead of the switch tax your biology is paying. Now watch what happens under the hood. Each switch breaks your completion loop. Your brain loves closing loops. Start, middle, finish, boom, you get a satisfaction hit. But when you fragment everything into 47-second slices, you never cross the line. You get micro starts with no finishes. That leaves the zygarnic tension humming, which keeps arousal high, which makes deep work feel kind of gross. So you bail early. And then you tell yourself a story like, I just don't have it today, when really, your day was chopped into confetti. You've probably had this day. You sit down at 9, you're still working at 5, and yet you can't point to a thing you made. Inbox 0, maybe a dozen comments? Sure, but meaningful artifacts, drafts, designs, analyses, none. That's the residue stack. Remember the refocus tax. Even if you pop back to the task fast, the deep thread takes 20+ minutes to return. Stack 5, quick, hits before lunch, and you torched most of your morning depth without noticing. Now here's the belief that keeps people stuck. If I stay responsive, I'm being a good teammate. I get it. But responsiveness inside maker blocks is just switching by another name. You're paying that rebuild cost again and again. And because the novelty hits feel good, your brain confuses them with momentum. It's like snacking all day and wondering why you're still hungry at dinner. Lots of bites. No meal. There's also an identity hidden here. When Residue makes simple tasks feel harder, you start to doubt your skill. You think, why is this outline so hard? Not because you can't outline. Because you're trying to thread a needle while someone keeps nudging your elbow. That mismatch, control networks trying to hold the thread while alarms ping about open loops, feels like incompetence. It's not, it's state. Here's a simple litmus test. At the end of a block, can you point to something you can show? A page, a diagram, a tested function, a slide deck section. If not, odds are you were in mimic work. High motion, low substance. And by the way, mimic work is addictive because it spares you from the discomfort of depth. Depth asks you to face uncertainty, make choices, and risk being wrong. Pings let you feel useful without the weight. That's why the inbox always wins when your arousal is high. So how do you flip it? You don't negotiate with grit, you fix the load. 2 shifts change the whole day. First, reduce fragmentation. 1 lane per half day, 1 app stack, tab fences, whitelisted notifications. Cut the switch count so your queue map stays intact long enough to finish something. Second, design for closure. Define a visible win before you start, title and outline, 1 figure, a dumb draft, and park the next step at the end. That way the loop actually closes, you get the satisfaction hit, and the residue drops. And yeah, you'll feel the pull to just check. That's fine. Run a dopamine drain reset instead of a feed break. 2 slow exhales, soften your gaze, maybe a tiny tactile thing like folding a paper. 2 minutes max. No novelty. Then re-enter the same lane. That scratches the urge without restarting the 47-second clock. Once you do this for a week, the mimic loop stops being tempting. Your baseline calms. Deep work stops feeling like a fight. And you look up at noon with an actual artifact done, not 20 browser fossils and a fried brain. Which is the point, right? Ship more with less drama. The 3 levers: autonomy, competence, safety, the 3 levers. So let's switch from theory to levers you can actually pull. Self-determination theory says motivation and steadiness jump when 3 needs are met: autonomy, competence, and relatedness. I'm going to translate relatedness into felt safety here, because in work, do people need something from me right now? Is the social trigger that blows up focus. When these 3 are on, residue decays faster, switches drop, and depth feels natural. When they're off, you lean on grit, and grit melts by noon. Autonomy first. Autonomy is the sense, I choose this from reasons. Tiny thing, huge effect. When your brain thinks you're being dragged, arousal spikes and it hunts for exits, pings, tabs, anything. Flip it with 1 sentence: I choose to do X because Y matters. Say it out loud. I choose to draft the intro because clarity helps the team decide. That 1 line tells your nervous system this isn't a threat, it's aligned. You'll feel your shoulders drop. To lock it in, add a boundary. For the next 45 minutes, this is the only job. Autonomy is not freedom to roam, it's the power to choose a lane and stay in it. Here's where most people mess up. They try to manufacture motivation at the end of a long chain of shoulds. That invites rebellion. Instead, front-load choice. Pick the artifact. Pick the time box. Pick the first move. 3 choices, then you do it. If you work in a team, pre-negotiate your maker windows so the social contract supports your choice. That's autonomy without friction. Competence next. Competence is concrete wins, not I'm smart, but I made a thing. The fastest way to feel competent is to shrink scope to what I call minimum viable momentum. 2-minute versions. Dumb draft that's allowed to be ugly. First visible artifact. Title and outline, not perfect prose. Why? Because completion creates closure, and closure kills open loops. Masacampo and Baumeister showed plan-making frees working memory, same move with micro-wins. When you define a tiny finish line, you get to step over it fast, which drops arousal and steadies attention for the next chunk. Try it right now. Take your next task and slice it to the first visible piece someone could react to. Title plus 3 bullets, 1 figure stub, a test that fails on purpose. Give yourself permission to be bad on the first pass. That permission cuts perfection residue, endless micro-edits that feel like progress and aren't. Then, park the next step in 1 line before you stop. Next, Add examples for bullets 2 and 3. You'll come back hotter because your brain knows exactly where to re-enter. Safety last. Safety is nothing is about to jump me. In knowledge work, threats are social and informational, surprise pings, vague asks, unclear stakes. When safety is low, your body scans. Scanning feeds the 47-second loop. You stop it by creating buffers and rules that feel trustworthy. 3 moves. 1. Notification triage. Whitelist humans who can break through for true emergencies. Everyone else hits batch windows. Put those batch times in your status so you're not guessing. Social safety goes up when others know the game. 2. Declare office hours. I reply at 11:30 and 4:30. Pin it. Now your brain can stop checking because there's a plan. Remember the Zygarnik link. A scheduled plan cools intrusive thoughts. 3. Threat translation. Before a deep block, write the one thing that feels risky about the task. I might make a weak argument. Then write the smallest action that reduces that risk. Pull 2 citations. Now your limbic system has a release valve. Safety rises because you took one bite of the dragon. There's a body piece here too. Safety isn't only policy, it's physiology. Exhale bias, longer exhales than inhales, tells your vagus nerve we're good. Jaw release, widen your gaze, drop your shoulders. Run that for 30 seconds before you load. You'll feel the urge to check drop about 20%. That's enough to stay. Let me tie the levers together with a quick micro story. A designer I work with kept bouncing between Slack and Figma, feeling fried. We wired Autonomy with I choose to ship one variant because the team needs a test. We dialed Competence with MVM. First artifact is a black and white wireframe in 15 minutes. We added safety. Slack whitelist plus a pinned line, designing 9:11. I'll reply at 11:15. She ran the 4-beat. Short reset, load queues, 30-minute deepen, park the next move. Result? 3 variants in 2 hours, thread calm, fewer switches, and she said, it felt quiet in my head. That's not luck. That's needs met. So pull Autonomy to set the lane. Pull Competence to move fast and close loops. Pull safety to stop scanning. Do that, and Residue stops owning you. We'll build the day around these next. The context architecture. 1 brain, 1 lane. All right, let's build the day so your brain doesn't have to fight itself. 1 brain, 1 lane. Fewer state shifts, stable cues, and tools that don't crosstalk. This is the scaffolding that lets all the other stuff work with grit. Start with half-day lanes. Morning lane, afternoon lane. Each lane is 1 domain. Writing, design, analysis, recruiting, pick one. Why half-days? Because your brain builds a cue map for a domain and it takes time to settle. If you cram 3 roles into a morning, you trash and rebuild that map 3 times. That's the 47-second churn at scale. So 2 lanes max per day, and if you can, run the same lane for a full day to go even deeper. 1 brain, 1 lane. Now make the visual field match the lane. Environment priming isn't cute, it's a cue set. If you're in a writing lane, your desk should scream writing. Notebook open, outline on the left, dock center, research in a parked pane, not 15 random tabs. Move anything unrelated out of sight. Close the Kanban if it pulls you. Put a lane, writing 912 card in your sight lane. Your eyes tell your brain what matters. If your field is mixed, your mind will mix. Tool isolation is next. 1 app stack per lane. If you write in Obsidian or Google Docs, that's the stack. Don't open Slack just to grab a file. Pre-stage what you need before you enter. If your analysis lane is Python and a dataset, cool, keep email off that desktop. Use separate desktops or profiles so cross-queues can't leak. And yes, use session containers or profiles in your browser. Workwrite, work design, admin comms. Each has its own tabs, logins, and bookmarks. When you switch lanes, you switch containers. You're not hunting through a soup of unrelated queues. Tab fences matter more than you think. Open tabs are cognitive anchors. They hold your attention even when you're not looking at them. So fence them by lane. I like 1 window per lane, 1 pinned, home tab that's the artifact, and 3 or fewer support tabs. If a tab isn't advancing the current artifact, park it with a note and close it. Remember, every extra queue is a chance for a 47-second restart. Keep the field clean. Physical cues help too. Change the posture and prop by lane. For reading or editing, sit back a bit, soften your gaze, maybe use a different lamp. For drafting or coding, forward lean, headphones, brown noise. Your body state becomes part of the context. When the body matches the lane, reentry is faster and residue decays quicker. Guard the lane with boundaries. Whitelist who can break through. Everything else hits batch windows you chose. Put your windows in your status. Comms at 11:30 and 4:30. That's safety and social clarity in one move. If you share a space, use a visible token hat on, heads down light door hanger. Simple, but it stops surprise taps that reset the clock. Pre-brief the lane. 5 minutes before you start, open the right stack, load the artifact, skim your parking note from last time, and write a one-line intention. Today, draft intro and bullets for sections 2 and 3. That's competence plus planning. It kills zygarnik noise before it starts. If a worry pops up, resources, unclear ask, turn it into a micro plan and park it. Ask Mia for data field names at 11:30. You'll feel your urge to check drop because your brain trusts the plan. And now the sneaky part, doorways. Every doorway is a chance to lose the thread. So reduce doorways. Within the lane, avoid tool hopping. One search, one answer stays inside the artifact. If you must go out, capture before click. Write what you're looking for and how you'll know you found it. Then go get it and come straight back. Otherwise, a helpful search becomes the saboteur that restarts the 23-minute refocus tax. A quick micro story. An engineer I coach had 5 windows, 50+ tabs, and Slack on top. Felt fast, shipped slow. We moved to 2 lanes, mornings code, afternoons reviews. We split Chrome into code and comms profiles, fence tabs, pinned the repo as home. Physical queue, hoodie on for code, off for reviews. He pre-briefed with a one-line intent and ran pit stops on forced switches. Week 1, his switch rate dropped by half. Reentry latency fell from I dunno forever to about 3 minutes. He said, "It finally feels quiet." Same brain, new lane. So build the lane, prime the field, isolate the tools, fence the tabs, guard the doorways, and pre-brief the move. Do that, and you'll feel the rebuild cost vanish. Reset right arrow,
Depth
load
won't be
right
rare,
arrow,
deepen
it'll
right
be
arrow
park. This is the engine that makes lanes work. 4 beats, always in this order. Reset, load, deepen, park. Think of it like downshift, engage, cruise, then dock the boat. Each beat solves a specific biological problem, so you're not fighting residue with willpower. Reset first. Before you start, drop arousal. 60 to 90 seconds, that's it. Too long, slow exhales where the out-breath is longer than the in-breath. Soften your gaze, let it widen like you're looking past the screen. Release your jaw and unhunch your shoulders. You're telling your nervous system we're safe, which settles the locus coeruleus. If something intrusive pops up, capture it on your card within a Fwenware. Ask Jenna for metrics at 11:30, Slack, 5 minutes. That move leans on Massacampo and Baumeister, 2011, Planet, and the Zygarnik hum drops. You can feel the tug ease. This is not a meditation session. It's a pit stop to reduce the 47-second itch before it starts. Now load, 6 to 10 minutes to build the queue map for this task. Open only the artifact and the 3 support tabs you actually need. Read your one-line intent from the pre-brief, draft intro and bullets for 2 and 3. Skim your last parking note so your brain knows where to re-enter. Then do 2 tiny setup actions that tell your control networks, these are the rules now. For writing, maybe paste a rough outline and drop in placeholder subheads. For coding, run the test suite and open the file you'll touch. For analysis, load the dataset and set a fresh cell. This is context priming. You're loading rules, names, file paths. The point is to cut reentry latency so you're not burning the first 15 minutes just stabilizing. Deepen is the main block, 25 to 45 minutes of single-thread work. The trick is to make it friction light but not mindless. 2 helps. 1, work in chunks you can finish so you get closure hits without breaking the lane, title plus 3 bullets, a function and its test, 1 chart that runs. 2, plant open loops on purpose but outside your head. If you hit a snag that'll pull you down a rabbit hole, write a tiny parking line. Edge cases for FNX later, and keep moving. You're using the Zygarnik drive without letting it hijack working memory. If you feel that 47-second urge to just check, run a 30-second dopamine drain, 2 slow exhales, widen your gaze, light tactile thing, then right back in. No novelty, no new tabs, you're scratching the itch without resetting the clock. Park is where most people blow it. They stop when they get interrupted or tired, and then residue nags for hours. Don't do that. End the block on purpose. First, externalize the next beat in 1 line, concrete and small. Next, add examples to bullet 2 and 3. This leans on the same plan-making effect. Your brain marks it handled, which drops interference. Second, save or commit and put the artifact in a visible place you'll open next time, top of the dock, pinned tab, repo bookmark. Third, capture any loose ends that would keep tugging. Email Mia for data field names, 11:30 window. Finally, give yourself a micro when you can point to. Intro drafted, skeleton for sections 2 and 3 in place. That closes the loop. Satisfaction hit lands, arousal drops, residue clears faster. Let me show you how it flows in real time. Reset. 2 long exhales, jaw soft, glance out the window, jot worry. Missing stats, pull 2 citations at 11:30. Load, open doc, paste outline, pin the artifact tab, read last parking note, type the intent at the top. Deepen, 25 minutes, draft the intro ugly on purpose, add 3 bullets, park 2 tangents with 1-line notes instead of chasing them. Feel urge to check? 30-second reset, then right back. Park right next. Add examples to bullets 2 and 3, save, pin, note, ask Mia at 11:30, and say out loud, intro done. That's a full loop. 2 loops back-to-back beat a morning of scattered effort. And once this pattern is baked, you can run it without thinking. Reset cuts the novelty spike. Load reduces rebuild time. Deepen protects a single thread long enough for real progress. Park kills residue so re-entry tomorrow is fast. It's biology-aware work, not hustle theater. Run the loop twice before any inbox, and you'll feel the day flip. The anti-switch protocols stop the leaks,